Everybody has a story to tell. What's yours? Why do you exist? Do you matter? Are you loved? Does your life mean anything to this world? What is your why? What is your life purpose? Are you ready to turn your life around? Know your mission and get crystal clear clarity of what you were born to do. The good news is I have the key to your success.
Hello and welcome to Terry Messenger's Genius Zone. And if you have ever thought about really getting your influence out there on social media, I wonder if you've ever considered LinkedIn to being an absolute open field to create your greatest influence. Well, guess what? Regardless of whether you want to be a LinkedIn star or whether you want to just be able to embrace who you are in your most authentic story, I have a wonderful woman. And this woman is an absolute genius at building community. She is a keynote speaker, wait for it, on a TEDx talk, and she's also been featured in the Forbes magazine. Wow. Now, this really impressed me. This lady has done 5 of Joe Dispenza's retreats. So let's just say she knows a little thing or two about the mindset, and she absolutely believes that your mindset is 80% of the success rather than just the strategy. So with no further ado, I can't wait because you're going to experience what it's going to be like to create your success, your epic success in motion right here. So with no further ado, hello Sarka, how are you?
Hello Terry, hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am feeling grateful. I'm so grateful to be here.
Well, I am so grateful to have you on the show, and what an amazing human being that you are. And, you know, I'm going to just encourage people to really stay to the end because you're going to find out a lot more about, you know, building that strategy because we're going to do a little demo. So firstly, people really want to see the real human, right, Sarka? You know, I think we all had this kind of idea about perfectionism, and you're an expert on erasing that. But what is it, the magic, and why do people need to see behind the mask?
Yeah, thank you very much for asking. That's a very important question because we all are humans and we all are imperfect humans and everyone is making mistakes. But the most important is to learn from them and to develop ourselves and to work on ourselves every day and to see solutions, to believe in solutions. And that's actually how LinkedIn works as well.
That's very interesting. So, you know, people are not looking for perfect people, but they're really looking for real people. So, you know, what's the fine line? Do you see that, you know, sharing and being real is actually a bit of a magnet?
Yeah, so the authenticity is crucial. Of course, it all starts with a clarity about my purpose, why I'm doing what I'm doing, a clarity about my vision, where I want to go, what is my bigger picture, and about my mission. So how I want to go there, how I help people. But then it's crucial to be clear about what are my goals on LinkedIn, who I want to reach, who is my target audience, and what are the messages where I want to be known for and where I want to share my expertise, my experiences, and where I want also to help and inspire others. So it starts with a strategy, but then it's all about people, about building genuine relationships and being us, being authentic as we are. I mean, I know the word authentic is so much used, but it's so powerful if you use it in the right way, because we really connect with people as human beings, emotional beings. We don't
Wow.
connect with machines, with AI.
Okay. So I think that's a good point too, because there's a lot of people getting a bit nervous out there with AI. And I believe that really what you're saying here is that no matter what, AI will never have a heartbeat and the blood flowing through the veins and the real life. So you can never ever take the place of a real human being. And look, I do love that. The other thing that I see myself, and I'm not a LinkedIn expert. In fact, I'm going to be learning a lot from you on this. But as a kind of a person who's done a lot of transformation and worked with a lot of coaches in the online space, I think I've seen a lot of hustle and a lot of, especially on Instagram, where you feel like you have to be perfect. You have to have a certain look. You have to have a certain mannerism about you. But then, you want to see what happens to the perfectionist who's hustling their butt off when they actually have a real life issue, and that's when everybody seems to flock. That's what I've actually noticed. So can you talk us through erasing perfectionism in that way, and what would you say to people who are, maybe they're scared of being imperfect or making mistakes? You probably know what the deal is on that.
Yes, thank you very much for asking. So I see that there are people on LinkedIn that they really care about likes and impressions, and they are really obsessed with it. Of course, the analytics are important, but much more important are we, are humans. If it doesn't matter if I have so many impressions, I have so many likes. The likes doesn't bring you more. The likes, yeah, of course, you have perhaps a little bit more visibility, but
They don't pay the bills, do they?
yeah, it doesn't mean that you have clients, you have new employees, and you position yourself as a true leader. So the much more important is really to connect with people through our energy, and also through really who we are in our heart, our core. And that's why it's so important to be courageous and really to have this intention to help others, to inspire others. And of course people want to see our face, they want to see our pictures, because it's also emotional, it's how our brain works. But first of all, we have to take the courage and to make this shift, this mindset shift. I am on LinkedIn to help others, not to promote myself. I am really there to inspire and help others. And then to acknowledge that nobody's perfect. And we can only learn and develop ourselves if we start being active, if we start sharing our way, our journey, our mistakes, our learnings, to help others. And also we believe in ourselves, because when I believe in ourselves, when I see the results of my clients, then I can share this and I can help even more clients. And also
Absolutely.
embracing challenges is so important, because every challenge brings me further, because when I embrace it, I go through it, then there is every time a gift behind the challenge. And I don't see it at the beginning, but I know every challenge let me learn and develop myself. And that's how I grow, how I step out of my comfort zone. And that's where the impact starts.
Amazing. And they're so true. I mean, let's face it, we never go to a movie, pay big money at the box office so we can watch the perfect, superhero living a life full of rainbows and butterflies and continuing along that same beat the whole way through. There's got to be an adversity. There's got to be a pain. There's got to be something. So when you think about it, it's the movies. It's the what makes a box office hit smash. I heard a friend, colleague of mine saying the other day, if it bleeds, it leads. And, I feel that I did fall into the trap of perfectionism, especially when I first came into the online space. And it was almost like I had been in clinic and helped so many people. So the focus was just helping people, and that worked beautifully. But all of a sudden I came into the online space, and I think the biggest mistake that I made was putting on that big facade of, hi, this is me, and sort of, working hard, hustling, trying to look like in a certain way. And yet it didn't take away from my gift, but it took away from my charisma. And then, this is the part where I promised you backstage that I would mention this. I hit a huge crisis in my life, and the crisis was so big and not what I expected at a critical point of my life, where I had, met the man of my dreams 18 years ago. We were building this life of helping people, and that's what we were doing together. And then, alas, he took sick, but he went downhill so fast that we discovered, long story short, that he had CJD, which is Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, a fatally critical disease that is always fatal. And, today he is unable to speak, he's nonverbal, he is, not able to move his body. And I remember asking myself on the way, when it was all going downhill very fast, I remember asking myself, how am I going to show up? I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. Like, what am I going to do? And, I feel like this is relevant into the conversation here, because all of a sudden I said, well, there's only one thing for me to do. This is my focus. I am going to have to do this. And then my mission turned into creating miracles. Every day is a miracle. He shouldn't even be alive. Long story short, we just began the authentic process of documenting the sad situation as it is, and me being still my coaching self, but being able to showcase that with him and how we kind of relate together. And you know what? That has actually changed the trajectory of my business. And it's in a way where it's almost like people have a different, I don't know, whether they feel like they know you better. But from your point of view, can you understand how that's happened with me? I mean, you're the expert here with LinkedIn. I mean, about that kind of a situation crisis and how me kind of just letting it unfold has actually unwittingly kind of created a lot more success in my business.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing. And wow, that's an amazing story, Terry. And I admire you and also your husband for the journey that we are doing together. And yes, that's true, because you mentioned before one crucial thing. We humans, we connect through stories, because everyone has a story, as you also mentioned your story, and everyone has a story, and people connect to it because we are emotional human beings, and we see us in the stories, but we also learn and get inspired from the stories. And that's why it's so important. And storytelling, it became so important on social media, on LinkedIn as well, because we can tell about our expertise, explain it, but if we share the story that actually influence people, as you shared now, for example, it's really, I can feel it, and that's what story makes. And people never forget how you made them feel. They forget what you said, but they never forget how you made them feel.
Wow, that's powerful. Yes, that's just so powerful. So you say perfect posts, and I suppose that kind of covers, a lot about what we've both just shared. Don't create connection. Honesty does. So that's obviously one of your, very important mottos that you live by. So do you think people are getting a bit wrapped up in trying to create perfect posts and then finding that they fall flat?
Yeah, so for me, it all starts with the clarity and the strategy, the personalized strategy. But then it's so important to build strong connections, to build a strong community, because we can have the perfect post, but if we don't have the community, not many people will see it. Not many people will read it, comment on it, and like it, or write us direct messages, for example. So it's like in an offline world. First, we are human beings. It's regarding to Maslow. It's this is a part of our needs to be social. And it's actually how social media, and especially LinkedIn, which helps us with the business contacts and with connect with people on the emotional stage. So this is this is actually a crucial part. And then, of course, it's important to learn how our brain works, how we read online, and also how we can share our stories, how we can share our expertise to inspire and to help others. So it's all about connecting with people and knowing that the crucial part is to know how to do it online. Because many of my clients, they really don't know how to build and nurture these relationships online, and it's actually not so difficult. I tell them every time, just imagine the person you would like to talk to in DMs, in the comment, or in the post is standing in front of you. Imagine the person that you are talking to and talk as normal human.
Wow. So really relate, and you say also that the magic is in the DMs. And so what are you talking about in the DMs? Can I kind of pry a little bit into that?
Yeah, so I found personally that the comments are magical, they help you to be more visible, but the true magic happens in the DMs, because then you have the person one-on-one, and then it's up to you how you build the relationship. But as I said, we are humans and we are looking for things in common. So we really have to build this emotional connection. That's why also I found sending a connection note with the request really crucial, because I am really interested in why this person wants to connect with me, or is she or he only clicking on the contacts and really getting more and more followers, doesn't matter who it is. So I'm not interested in this part, in this type of people. I'm really interested in these connections. And once we send a connection request, usually people don't reply, they just click yes or no. And if they connect with you, then I start really to get to know the person. And that's important, to ask questions, but no more than one question per DM. Otherwise we are overwhelmed, we don't know what to answer. And then really to connect as on a event. I say that LinkedIn is the biggest online networking event. So just on a networking event, start to talk to people, but make it about them. It's not about you. The focus is on the people that you would like to connect, you would like to get to know. And then you will see if they open up or not, how they respond. And then after 2, 3 DMs, it depends, you can go over to the business topic. But if I receive a message from someone else, like he or she wants to sell me something, I mean, the question is, they haven't built trust with me, then they don't know if I have a challenge, a problem, if I am looking for the solution, and if I need the solution from them. So that's why first I need to get to know them. Then the aim is then to come from LinkedIn to the offline connection, to the call or to a meeting. And then I can get to know the person more. I can connect more. And then that's where the incredible things happen, because then I have the person in front of me. I feel her or his energy. But first I have really to find out more. And I mean, not everyone is open, not everyone is interested. So then they are not the right people. We have to find the right people.
Yeah. And they do say that the most interesting people in the room are the ones that are interested in what you're saying, and they may not even say as much. But they're really they're interested in you, and that makes them so interesting. And when you think about it, I mean, everybody wants to feel important. So maybe you writing a post and just spending all day long constructing posts is not going to make a person feel as important as when you, as you say, comment on posts and, really interact, and because you're showing who you are. And then not to mention the magic in the DMs, where that's when you're kind of really giving that opportunity to meet that person. But it really sounds like and correct me if I'm wrong here as well, that you've got this kind of secret sauce, obviously, with building communities and connecting with people. But it sounds like you're doing it very authentically, one person at a time. Would that be right?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be one person at a time, but the most important is to ask one question per DM, and to do it authentically. It's crucial. And we can't serve thousands and thousands of people. Perhaps we have an online course without no interactions from our side, okay, but otherwise, I mean, we have our energy and we want to be the best contribution to our clients. And the same is on LinkedIn, in DMs, in comments. So less is more, and the focus on quality is so important, and focus on people. And energy flows where focus goes.
Oh, I love that. That's gold. Now, I always say on the Genius Zone people quite often come from their pain. And you told me backstage that you went through a time in your life where you felt very unseen and where you felt unappreciated and even undervalued. And, you know, here you are now teaching people how to make other people feel really seen, appreciated, and valued. You know, can you talk to me about what happened for you when you did move from that place of feeling sorry, you know, obviously deprived, compared to now? What was the transition?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, the biggest trigger was the meeting with the CEO from the company where I worked for. And when I came or went for the first time in my life to ask for a pay raise. And he expected from me how much worse I am. And I expected it to hear it from him, how much worse I am for him. But what he said me or told me, that he actually didn't know what I'm doing. It was my direct boss. But it was a really strange meeting. And
You were
at the end,
mirroring. It sounds like you were mirroring. So, you know, this is the thing. Oh gosh, I could go on about this forever and a day. But energy is, as you know, it's a frequency and a currency. So if we go into a meeting thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, and oh, can I have a pay rise? Can I have a pay rise? It's like, why would I give you a pay rise? And it's almost like a self-fulfilled prophecy, but it's like a projection. Whereas you walk in and you have a sense of deserving and that sense of empowerment, and you know, this is what I can do for you. You know, they say, Napoleon Hill says that, you know, the one with the most certainty will win. So, you know, what did you do to switch that around? Was it the Joe Dispenza retreats, or what on earth, you know, caused your mindset to shift?
yeah, so I have to add to this that you are totally right. But I told him everything what I've done. So I told him these outcomes, but in me inside, I didn't believe in myself. And this was actually, as you said, it was the problem actually. And then, I started working together with my mentors. Actually, my first mentor, she told me she saw me as an entrepreneur. And I told her, no way, because I didn't have any savings. I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have entrepreneur experiences. But then I started working together with her, and I found, thanks to her, find my why, my vision, my mission. And I became an entrepreneur, and I started working actually directly with my first client.
Wow.
And it was in 2021. And 2 years later, I visited my first retreat from Joe Dispenza. And this changed my mind, my life. I really started to meditate with his meditations twice a day. And of course, from the beginning, I was working on my LinkedIn skills. And since then, I'm doing this. So I continually continue investing in myself, a lot of big amounts of money. But this is actually what helps my clients so much, because on one hand, I am updated. I'm still on with the development. I mean, it's developing so fast, and this online world and everything is changing, and how we think also as humans, how we consume online. And on the other hand, also the mindset, how we feel, how we think, how we act, and what we say, because it creates our life. And it's also how I changed my life.
And that's what inspires, because, you know, if you went in and because you're an intelligent woman, you know, I mean, obviously you being able to tell your boss And this is the thing where they say that the verbalization is not always everything. So you might be, like you said before, people remember how you make them feel, not what you say. They don't really remember every word you say. So you could be saying the most, incredibly compelling words that may have really good influence around the words. But if the energy doesn't match, and deep down inside, and I think that's probably a huge what you inspire so many people, because you can relate to that, because you've been there before yourself, and being able to kind of coach your people. And I will add too that you shared something really important with me, and that is that finding the right mentors will accelerate your business and your situation. And yet, if I may say before I hand over to you on that note, there are a lot of people out there that think it's okay to come on the online space without spending a cent. What business ever took off, or what business can we ever run where it doesn't cost a cent? That's what I'd like to know. In fact, I was saying to my mother this morning, if people don't have, at least enough money to invest in themselves, they shouldn't be doing it. They need to go and, get a job. I don't mean to sound callous here, but they need to get something to give them the backing, because we need to treat this as a real business. Share with me what is so powerful about hiring, obviously, the right coaches and mentors.
So as you shared, the energy is crucial. It's so important, the people we are surrounded by, and the people with the same or similar mindset, like-minded people. It's really inspiring. And I found when it comes to hiring the right mentor and coach, it's so important when you exchange with the person on a call beforehand, how you connect with the person. Because the people, they can tell you that, they get so many results for others and so on, but we all are different. And what's working from someone else doesn't mean that it's working for you. And it's so important that it's really done for you. It's with your aligned with your values. That's so crucial, and that also you are ready to put the work in it. Because if you think, the person will do everything for me, then okay, you can do it. You can hire a ghostwriter, and you are doing almost nothing, but it's not your energy. So it's so important to be aware of what you want. You really want also achieve, and how is the person you want to hire as a coach, as a mentor, how are her or his values, and how it's in alignment with you, with your values, with your energy.
That's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, I'm going to ask you now about your 3 pillars. And, obviously, just to kind of list them off according to what you have told me, and then you can open it up, is treat your profile like a business card and a landing page. So I'll get you to go into that in a moment. Make it visual, magnetic, and clearly communicate your value, and have strong headlines, clarity, because that equals instant authority. So would you like to teach us on treating the profile like a business card and landing page?
Yeah, so as I said, it all starts with the strategies, that we have this clarity about our goals, target audience, and the topics on LinkedIn. And then LinkedIn, of course, if people are searching for you, on Google or also in the AI, there's LinkedIn coming up. So it's also so important to use the right keywords and so on. So this is also one point. But LinkedIn is really as a landing page or your business card. It means that everyone is ambassador of a company. It doesn't mean that you are, for example, an employee. You are also an ambassador of the company where you are working for. So everyone is an ambassador of a company. Either it's your company or it's you are an employee. You are ambassador of the company where are you an employee. And it means that you don't have to put everything that you have in your CV on your LinkedIn profile. It should be along your strategy. It should be in alignment, because people come to your profile and they want to know and to understand quickly who you are, what are your values, how you can help them, what are the results, the benefits for them, what's in it for me. Like a person who is coming to a profile, and as well, where can they contact you? They don't want to really search for it. They want to get it immediately. They want to understand it immediately.
That's
and that's
amazing.
why yeah,
That's really good. So this is like a masterclass right here and now. So guys, make sure you are writing this down. And I just want to add to that, all of Sarka's details will be in the show notes. So feel free to contact her through that. And, you know, this is amazing. So now making it visual, magnetic, and clearly communicating, I guess you've pretty much almost covered that with the first one. But is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, the importance of building a personal but also an employer brand is not only what we say, what we communicate, the words, the text, but also the visuals. Because the visuals are building also our brands. It means the pictures, the banner, and all the stuff that we share, the carousel posts, and so on. So be aware also how you communicate visually, because we humans also, we connect with images. It's also emotional. So this is also a crucial part. And yeah, as I mentioned, building a strong community is a crucial part as well. And also be aware how people read online. So first of all, how LinkedIn works, because it's social media platform, but it works differently as meta platforms, as TikTok. And so understand the platform, but also be aware of how we humans read online, how we think. So how is the human psychology? So that's why also how you will write your posts, that people feel attracted to it, and also what you share. So the value every time also on a profile, the value for your target audience is crucial.
Beautiful. And of course, strong headlines give instant authority. Do you have any suggestions of, you know, people might not know how to do that, but that's how all the journalists, and if you go into Facebook these days, they write some of the biggest rubbish about celebrities and, you know, what's going on, but they're doing it for clickbait. But perhaps you can explain to us, you know, about writing a strong headline and any tips that you may have.
Yeah, that's a very good question, because the attention span is going shorter and becoming shorter and shorter. So we have to catch people's attention at the beginning from the post. It means in the headlines. It's the same in the newspaper, for example, as well. So the headlines are so important. And then we have to keep the attention. And LinkedIn shows the first 3 lines, but our brains, they see, or they perceive it better if there is like one line and then a space and then one line is better to read.
Okay.
And so these are the 3 lines that we can actually see, and we see also the picture or the video or the graph, infographic, whatever we put in there. And yeah, the most of the people are scrolling down. So that's why we have to catch people's attention and to hold it. And the headlines actually are also a promise. What is the post about? Because if we don't talk afterwards about it, people are disappointed and we don't have their attention as well. And also it's important to create this curiosity, to create this empathy, to empathize with people, because if people feel, oh yeah, I can relate to this, or I feel in that way, or this makes me curious, they will click on more and to read more. And LinkedIn is still platform where people like to read. So that's why the text is also important, as well as they are pushing videos and they want to push videos more next year, but so in 2026. But yeah, it's still the picture and the text is still really important on LinkedIn.
Very important. Well, that's good insight right there. And I'm very aware that I want to kind of really go through and give you this opportunity to kind of unpack a little bit about asking me some questions, because when you ask me the questions, then our audience can imagine those questions being also aimed to them, and that's kind of the bit of the magic that happens here. But I am going to talk about how we need to take the focus, and this is obviously your teaching. How do we take the focus off our own insecurities? And the answer you gave me was nothing short of profound. So if we're taking our focus off, my own fear, like of showing up and not getting it right, where do I put my focus then?
Yeah, that's very important, because our energy goes where our focus goes, where energy flows. So it's so important. And many clients that come to me, they tell me, I don't want to promote myself. And that's amazing, because I tell them, yeah, LinkedIn is about helping, inspiring others. It's not about you. But of course they want to see your picture, because they want to see who is behind this business mask, how this person thinks, what are her values. So if you make this shift from it's about me to it's about helping my target audience, helping my community, inspiring them, then it will be easy for you to come out of the comfort zone and to be open to share your expertise, your unique experiences, because we can find almost everything on Google, on AI. But if you share your experiences and expertise, it's unique. Every person is unique. And that's how you can inspire others and help them.
And what I'm really, really hearing is it's really not about you as the coach. And while we're all getting so caught up in our own insecurities, we've got to come back, and what you're really emphasizing on is being what is in it for them. What can you give them? And really the only reason, as you say, that they do want to see the face, they're wanting it for their own curiosity, and so they want to know, who am I speaking to? So I love that. So you would say take the focus off your own insecurity and put it onto the other person? Focus it on them?
Yes, and every time think about the value that you would like to deliver. And one important thing is that people forget what you posted or commented yesterday or 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago, but they never forget topics that you are standing for. And it's so important that you have your content strategy as well. and you are aware of if you are reposting something. I'm not so fan of reposting, except it's your company page, but to be aware of your expertise that you are sharing, of your thoughts, and also where you are commenting on, and what, if you are reposting, what you are reposting, what you are talking about, because then you will position yourself as a thought leader, as an expert in your industry.
That's really important, because I think there's just too many people out there. They're sometimes afraid to share their thoughts, but in actual fact, it's their thoughts that really produce the values, isn't it? And I like the fact that you do emphasize on that thought leadership, because it's, important. So if you had a few questions, let's bring the fire, the secret sauce, to some good questions that you may have for me now. So we'll flip it over to you. And I don't have a big following or a lot of experience in LinkedIn. So help me out here. What, spending just maybe a couple of minutes, because we're drawing to a close, but what would you be asking me? What kind of questions? What would you do in order to really help me find my way?
Yeah, so usually before I start working together with my clients, not usually, but every time, I send them a questionnaire where I ask them about the why, vision, mission, target audience, challenges of the target audience, but to suggest them a personalized LinkedIn strategy. But now I would like to go straight, because of the time, I would like to go with you straight to the questions about your LinkedIn strategy to define it with you here. So I will start with first question. So what are your goals with LinkedIn?
Okay, my goals would be to connect with people who have got that passion to turn their pain to power. So, for example, with yourself, you had those feelings of being unseen, and now look at you now. You are helping so many people. That's what that's what I am really looking for, and bringing them into the show. Sometimes they're not always coaches, healers, and leaders, but LinkedIn certainly is a really good place to find passionate people. But that is the prerequisite, that they do have a passion that is quite genuine, and there was a pain that they turned to their power, and because of that, they want to change the world. And that helps me with my mission as well, of transforming 1 million lives by the year 2028.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. And so then I would like to make it shorter. I will say, okay, so though your goal is to connect with the right people, to bring them to your show, and also the visibility, I would say, or the personal brand also will be your goal, I would say. Do you agree?
Yes, look, absolutely. I do feel that that's a very big alignment with you, that I want people to feel visible and heard. Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then the second question is, who is your target audience? I mean, you mentioned it already, but specifically, so you were talking about people, but I think you are not only focused on women, or who is the target audience?
Oh, yeah, women and men. I mean, when I first began out, because I was a hypnotherapist and, training in NLP and all of that, it was all about healing people's trauma. It was all about the work that I do, like, the mixture of Anthony Robbins with NLP and Joe Dispenza with hypnosis. So nobody ever came to me once, Sarka, and said, I want to be successful, I want to be rich, I want to have a great relationship, and I want to just be happy. No one ever said that. No one. Everybody came because they said, I've got this addiction, or I feel this way, or this is what's happening. But people, what I learned, are not their emotions. They are not the things that they did, or they're not the sum of, what their emotions are. They were the sum of who they became after they healed themselves. And that brings me to really understanding that those people were generally people who then stepped into their soul purpose. So they really, even though they never came and asked for that, they stepped into it. They stepped into who they were born to be, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the point is that we have to find them on LinkedIn, and there are different ways to find them. One of them is to put like some keywords in the search bar. Also, you can search also in events and in groups, or you find people in, for example, in comments. You can also go through your posts who is liking there if you're not connected, or also to go to the people you already had on your show and go to their and they post and they comments and comment there and then connect with people. But if you want to put it in the search bar, so could you say like those are leaders, or what would be their position?
They are definitely leaders, but I feel like they're almost leading from the back. And they are coming, beside people, and they are really building a lot of rapport, and they're quite humble because of their background. And even they do have those self-worth issues that you spoke to me about, and even the fear of failure and stuff like that. And I do find that that's quite very, very big for most of the people that come on here, because we have very similar backgrounds in some way in our value system. So yes, there's definitely a likeness between you and I, even though it's completely different. So you are the person, like my community who love me will love you, because they'll go, well, we want to know how to make an impact. So when this drops on Friday night at 7 p.m, they're going to go after it, because we're going to find out what the secret source of really making headway on LinkedIn is.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I love that. Yeah, so I think perhaps you could search more for the keywords than for people's positions. Of course, you can search for leaders as well, and then go through their profiles to connect with people. And first, I would comment first, but you could also search for topics that, and then you can see. So you will put your keywords. That's why keywords are getting more and more important, and you will see who LinkedIn will shows you when you put this keyword. So that's actually how you could find your target audience. So another important thing is the region. So from region, which region are you targeting?
Okay, well, I'm global. I'm definitely very, very global. I do seem to have found that a lot of people from Europe and the US, more so than people in my own hometown, which is very strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. That's amazing. And that's also the power of LinkedIn. For example, I met a CEO from the village where I live, and thanks to LinkedIn, I would never met him in person, but then we connected, we wrote DMs, and he told me to meet for lunch. And the first thing he told me, I know you. He never commented, never liked my post, but he read everything and he became my client. But I would never met him in real life. So thanks to LinkedIn, it
That's
was
amazing.
yeah. So for you, I would say like your main focus is Europe, US, and Australia, I would say.
Yes, Europe, yep, US and Australia, yes.
Yes, for the target audience. And the third question is, what are the topics you would like to be known for, where you would like, or where you share your expertise, your experiences, and that you would like to be remembered and make impact?
Yes, beautiful question. Wow. And of course, people, when you get to sit in front of this amazing person, Sarka, she's going to give you the time to think about it. And she's probably not going to expect you to know straight off. For me, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to go with my 5 master keys, because even though, yes, it's all about becoming that greatest version of you and embracing your adversities and challenges and really almost channeling them into your power. But health and billion-dollar energy, I call it billion-dollar energy, is master key number 1. Master key number 2 is recoding your relationships, because quite often people are wounded because of the way that they were brought up, the way that what the words that they heard, and relationships have a big impact around that. So I definitely work through that. Number 3, which you know very well about, it's a self-worth, which also falls under prosperity, because, people don't value the, you gave a classic story, going to your boss to ask for a pay rise, right? But today you'd probably go in there and he'd probably throw the pay rise at you. He'd want to give it to you. So then there's number 4. Hello, we're here now. The genius zone, which is the genius zone. Every person that comes on the show, how they have transmuted their pain to power. And then the last one is legacy. So I feel like maybe summarizing it, legacy leaders.
That's amazing. So yeah, so it's important that we have like some business topics and also something like personal, that are perhaps our personal personal skills or something like this. But you put everything together. So I love the topics, and it's I really love it. And it's important that you stay with them and that you communicate everything you told me also regarding your target audience and the topics you communicated on your profile and also in your posts, in the comments, and every time you are aware of it. And of course, I mean, you can connect also with people who are perhaps not exactly your target audience, but you never know, perhaps those people have their followers and they could be your target audience. So that's why it's important to be, I found, a little bit open. But of course, every time to think, if I get some connection requests, who is this person? I go through the profile. What is there an inspiration for me? Should I connect or not? Like really to focus on the quality. But amazing.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. I have really learnt so much, and also the opportunity of building community. I love that so much. So my last question to you, is there anything you want to emphasize on that you've already said, or something that you would love to say to that person who's out there and they're going to hear this and they're just going to go, oh yes, thank you? Is there anything that you feel on your mind you'd like to share?
So first of all, thank you so much, Terry. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you also for sharing your story. And I would just say, believe in yourself. It's actually, it's easy to say, but hard to do. But just start today and like think about things you have achieved, you have realized, and be grateful for that, and write it down and feel the gratitude, and then write down your goals with this gratitude as if they already happened, as if you already achieved them, and decide from the state where you would like to be in. So ask yourself, how would I, as a person I would like to be decide, not from the state today that I don't have the money, I don't have the time, but decide from the state where you would like to be in. Does this bring me further? Does this will help me? And if yes, you will find every time the money that you will create it. But it doesn't have to be the lack, the scarcity mindset. It should be your abundant mindset that brings you forward.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much. I'm glad I asked that question. And to find Sarka, please go into the show notes. I mean, it's not rocket science that if you do want to find this amazing person, simply go to LinkedIn. It's probably where you hang out the most, obviously, right? Being that
Yes.
absolute guru. And I mean, since you have been interviewed by Forbes and, you know, you've been on TEDx, you know, what can I say other than I am deeply honored to have you on the show. So thank you so much.
And I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you very much for listening and please connect with me. I will be happy to exchange with you. Thank you so much.
Woo!